Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today, as promised, I am coming to you to talk about contracts, the bounty hunter contracts, and I'm going to explain what they are and what their payouts are and rank them by where I think they are the most valuable. Now, I will start with ranking the contracts, what the actual contract payout is, and then I will rank the individual bounty hunter payouts. Now, before I even get into any of that, I'm going to explain what a contract is and then talk about payouts. Now, a contract is an ability that sits on a leadership ability for a bounty hunter, or for the 5 specific bounty hunters that were shown in The Empire Strikes Back: Bossk, Boba Fett, Dengar, Greedo, and IG-88, or the original bounty hunters, right? Each bounty hunter, what you have to do to unlock the contract or to receive the contract is to do or complete a task, essentially, and that task changes depending on who's in the leadership role. Now, the contract can only be achieved by bounty hunters, right? Only bounty hunters can contribute to this. Now, that doesn't mean only the bounty hunters, those 5 listed. So that also means Cad Bane and Zem Wessel can contribute to this. There's a contract reward that is given under that leadership ability. Now, this is a very simple reward. There is an individual payout that each bounty hunter has, or each of these main bounty hunters that I mentioned before. I'm going to start off and say, on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest, I think that Boba Fett's contract is probably the hardest to achieve depending on which area of the game you're going to use him. Now, I love using Boba Fett in an arena. I've been toying around with a Sith Triumphant team for using Boba Fett. Really, really solid. But what his contract reads: defeat the first enemy that takes a turn in any encounter. So what does that mean? That means if you are in a raid, you have to defeat the raid boss first, or that phase boss first, because the phase boss is usually the one that takes the turn the first time, right? He starts up and the minions take their turn shortly thereafter. So if you can't solo the pit, for example, using Boba Fett in the lead against the Gamorreans doesn't make a ton of sense, because you have to solo the pit. You have to be able to defeat the Gamorreans before you can unlock that contract, which is time consuming. Now, in territory wars, territory battles, arena, really every other sense of the game, this isn't as problematic. But since so many people are focused on the raids, it doesn't make sense to use him there. Now, the reward itself is plus 25% tenacity for the rest of the battle, and their payouts are activated. Now, here's the thing, though. If you're in arena, that's not a super beneficial thing, right? Tenacity, yeah, it's good and it's important, right? But depending on the team that is out right now, I really don't think it's super effective, and I don't think that it's super beneficial. Now, moving on, I have Dengar as the number 4 on the list, and here you have to defeat the healthiest enemy, or hit the healthiest enemy 10 times. Now, hitting a character 10 times is not very difficult with these bounty hunters. They do a lot of mutual help, assists. There's a lot of back and forth. You don't have to hit with any one thing specifically. This doesn't have to be, you have to hit with a basic. That's frustrating, right? But it's just any 10 times. But the payout for it is minus 20% offense for the rest of the battle. Now, that's good, but it's not great. Now, number 3, I have IG-88. His contract says score critical hits against debuffed enemies 10 times. That's any enemy, that's any critical hit. And again, you have AoEs, you have your crew, your bounty hunter crew, hitting hard, critting often, and doing it just, it's crazy. So I think that is a very beneficial thing. Now, his reward is good. I think a little bit better than like the minus 20% offense. You get plus 25% offense and potency. So plus 25% offense and potency for the rest of the battle, plus payouts, right? So it's a benefit. I think that this benefits you more than the minus 20 detriments the other team. So potency is great, especially when it comes to a lot of, the throwing down of target lock, especially when it comes down to the sticking of the bombs, of, the grenades. I really think that this is a very solid ability that kind of stands above and beyond both Dengar and Boba Fett. Now, moving on, number 2 on the list is Bossk. Now, Bossk deals damage to the weakest enemy 10 times. That is super easy, especially with AoEs, especially with the crews that we are running, right? That means the payout is going to go very quickly, right? Now, all bounty hunters gain 50% or plus 50 speed for the rest of the battle. Now, that is very beneficial in areas where you're going to be playing longer. So in territory battles, in territory wars to some extent, in arena to some extent, right? Anything that has multiple phases, this is going to be very, very beneficial to. That 50 speed is very nice because the average speed of the bounty hunter team is above mid-range. Dengar's your slowest bounty hunter or one of your slowest bounty hunters, but the rest are like 130 and above, and that is awesome. And that is cool. You give them 50 speed and automatically, almost automatically, they're close to 200 without mods. You throw on some mods and man, you're going to be going fast. So it means you're going to be hitting more often, you're going to be hitting harder, and your enemy is just not going to stand a chance. Now, in the number 1 place is Greedo. I really think Greedo's contract and his payout is just great. It's just solid. And I think that it's all around better because it's more effective to more areas of the game, right? I think it's more effective in arena. I think it's going to be more effective in territory wars. I think it's going to be more effective in anything that's timed and, just here. But let's go ahead and read it. And it's the contract is damage any enemy with less than 50% turn meter 10 times with a basic only. Now, that's a very specific ability. That's a very specific thing. But here is what I think is impressive. Greedo has a chance to attack twice. Dengar has a chance to attack multiple times with his stealth. And his basic attack calls in another ally, right? Who will then quite possibly attack again multiple times, if like Boba Fett. And so it's very possible that this is going to be activated fast and going to hit hard because it's going to pull in multiple people. I just imagine myself seeing Greedo attacking twice, pulling in Dengar, who then randomly pulls in Boba Fett, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 they are attacking a lot. Now, the payout is plus 50% critical damage for the rest of the battle with their payouts. Now, that plus 50%, if you already have a high critical damage percentage, that is going to make it that much more potent, which means they're going to take off a ton of damage, a ton of health from their enemies. I just really, really am excited about that. Now, moving on or going back to their actual payouts, this is totally different. And knowing what their payouts are and knowing how they work together really does change who you want in a leadership position. Now, I'm going to start with Greedo. Greedo's payout reads, Greedo has plus 50% health steal, plus 25% critical damage, and plus 75% counter chance. Now, here's the thing. Once he gets that, what does that mean? When he gets hit, it is likely that he is going to just double tap often and double tap hard. That is a very potent ability. Now, Dengar, his payout reads, gains 25% offense and 25% speed until the end of the battle. Now, depending on who you have, if you have a Bossk lead, 25% speed with an additional 50 speed plus maybe speed mods, Dengar's going to be going fast. This makes up for his crappy speed at 109, his base speed. But in addition, while Dengar is stealthed, he has a 60% chance to assist when another bounty hunter uses a special ability. He is going to go. Now he's going to go with his basic. Now his basic deals physical damage to target enemy. If the target enemy is suffering any debuff, there's a 60% chance to call an ally to assist. If that assisting ally is a scoundrel, the attack is guaranteed to be a critical hit. So that is, anytime there is a special ability used, Dengar potentially gets to go. It's more than half the time, or more than half of a chance, right? Then when he does go, he has more than half a chance to call someone else in. Now, if he's calling in Greedo, and Greedo's been activated, you're going to be double tapping, and you're going to be hitting hard. If you're calling in Boba Fett, you're likely going to be double tapping as well, and that is awesome. Now let's move on to Boba Fett. Boba Fett's payout gains 100% turn meter, and for the rest of the battle, has plus 50 speed, and an additional defense penetration equal to 200% of his defense penetration. That is ridiculous. Now, think about that. Boba Fett already is a 147 base speed, right? Once he's paid out, he gets a plus 50 speed. If Bossk is the lead, that is plus 100 speed. So all of a sudden, Boba Fett is at 247. That's fast. That's very fast. Then if you get any speed mods on him, Boba Fett could easily be over 300, which means he is going to be going often and just cooking fools. I am very excited. Now, IG-88, his payout is IG-8 critical hits to enemies, reduce their tenacity by minus 10%, stacking. His attacks ignore 50% defense of target locked enemies and has plus 25% offense if there's an enemy with target lock, right? That it's not even if he's attacking an enemy with target lock, but if an enemy has target lock, that makes and target lock, guys, is a very potent ability that they've added to IG-88. I really think that he is going to be a solid addition to any team, bounty hunter or otherwise. Very excited because that is power. Now, finally, I do want to say Bossk's is it's probably the most versatile and probably the most durable. Bossk's payout recovers 5% health and protection at the start of each of his turns, and half that much, so 2.5%, whenever another bounty hunter ally starts their turn. So Bossk is going to gain 5% health and protection back every time he goes. Then he's going to gain an additional 10% health and energy and protection back for the rest of the round as his crew goes. And that doesn't account when they start their turn, so that's just 10%. But every round, he's going to be gaining 15% health and protection back. That's pretty beneficial, and that's going to make him very hard to kill. I don't think that necessarily puts him in the lead. I do think as far as their payouts go, I like Boba Fett's, then Bossk's, then Dengar, then Greedo, then IG-88. I really think those putting them in that order is going to be how valuable they are. That being said, guys, what do you guys think? Do you agree with the way that I've ordered these payouts and the contracts? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. And as always, my friends, stay nerdy.